KTM first launched their RC8C track weapon back in 2021, and the original batch of 100 bikes sold out in just 5 minutes, despite the hefty price tag of £30,999. Now this week they announced a new updated 2023 version with more power and more tech, and this time they've upped the production to 200 with a new even higher price of $34,999. But my bet is that they'll sell out on pre-order tomorrow just as quick. So what's so special about them and why are they in such high demand? Well, in this video we'll go over the 9 best features to find out. Now the engine is based upon the awesome middleweight LC8C that you'll find in the likes of the 890 Duke and the 890 Adventure. And I know that parallel twins are 10 a penny at the moment, but this one really is proper good. It's just as happy kicking out 120 odd horsepower in the Duke as it is chugging away in the mid-range in the 890 Adventure. I've always found it to be super lively and fun to ride, but it's also beneficial to the handling in that it's pretty compact and lightweight. That made it a great candidate for the original RC8C, where the goal was to make a very lightweight and slender and focused track bike. They still tuned it up though, with race bike specialist Kramer Motorcycles, a company set up by former KTM engineers, helping to get an impressive 128 horsepower out of it. But for 2023 they've gone still further with a new peak output of 135 horsepower at 11,000 RPM. So that's a pretty significant step up of 7 horses, and it's made 1,000 RPM higher with a new higher redline. How have they done it? Well, there's a completely new titanium exhaust system courtesy of Akropovich, new camshafts, new titanium valves, updated cam timings, and machined ports for better airflow. But it's not just peak power they're after. KTM also claim an improvement in engine durability, which of course will be massively important during extended thrashings on the track. So the balancer has been optimized to help minimize vibrations, and they say the sleeveless engine design and open deck cylinder construction has improved cooling and tolerances and reduced the potential for cylinder warp. The forged pistons get a lighter conrod and a DLC coating on the piston pin, and so overall they say the new design has trimmed off some friction losses. Now total dry weight is a little up at 142 kilograms compared to the 140 of the previous generation, presumably because of some of the features they've added which we'll get onto, but they've fought the gains with a whole bunch of weight saving improvements like the engine parts and titanium exhaust system we've just mentioned, and a new smaller lighter clutch. So they've managed to keep it to a minimum, and with that 7 horsepower performance increase you're still looking at a better power to weight ratio, so it ought to be the quicker of the two in a straight line. Now they've also sought to improve handling with an update to the suspension, so you still get their top-notch WP Apex Pro 43mm fork and the WP Apex Pro Shark, and they say that these are the lightest and most advanced in the WP portfolio and are manufactured purely for racing and have been thoroughly tested at national level competition. But they've tweaked the base settings for 2023 with the aim of making them slightly softer, and they claim the result to be an enhancement in feedback, especially on bumpy tracks, and more pitch under braking to get the weight on the front and assist with corner entry. They've also given the fork some new internals to reduce friction, which they say helps it to respond quicker, and the Shark has a new high and low speed compression adjuster. Finishing off the handling package, there's a WP Apex Pro steering damper with 30 clicks of adjustment. It's worth adding that the Brembo braking system returns, which they say offers the best performance, strength, and lightness of weight. And so you get a pair of 290mm fully floating discs at the front with Brembo's top drawer Stylema calipers, which are pretty much the standard now across performance orientated bikes. At the lever you've got their Brembo 19 RCS Corsa quarter master cylinder, which offers 3 different settings of bike point, and then at the rear a 230mm disc with a 2-pot Brembo caliper. Electronics now get an update with a 5-inch TFT display that's extremely track focused with GPS functionality in order to monitor lap times, and a logging system that means you can analyze a whole bunch of data points from your track position, throttle position, RPM, gearing, acceleration and deceleration, to standard engine management stuff like water temp, battery, ECU mode and oil pressure. On top of that, you can also use it to manage the power modes, so there are 2 maps of PW1 and PW2, with 1 being for dry and 2 for wet conditions. These are now represented with some new icons on the dash, and they can be managed with the new switchgear layout on the left. You've also got 9 traction control settings, 2 levels of engine braking, anti-wheelie control and launch control, and lastly on the tech there's still the quick shifter with the reverse race shift pattern button, and a pit lane limiter. Now the bodywork looks pretty much unchanged for this year, apart from the paint, but it's still something to marvel at, with a GRP construction that's reinforced with carbon and Kevlar, and fasteners that are specifically designed for quick changes should it get damaged. You've also got the aero winglets, which they say not only stabilize the bike at high speeds, but also provide downforce to give more control under braking, and the rest of the fairing shape and cutouts have been specifically designed to smooth the airflow around the rider. Elsewhere, you've got loads of other track-specific hardware, so some lightweight forged aluminium wheels with Pirelli Diablo Superbike race tires. There's crash protection on the frame, swing arm, fork and fuel tank, a brake lever protector and safety wide bolts, and then the contact points on the bike offer loads of adjustability to allow the rider to dial in their position. So with the CNC bar clamps, you've got 30 degrees of rotation, 25mm of height and 30mm of width. The seat can be swapped between two positions, and the foot pegs get a range of 66mm of movement in 3 steps on the CNC brackets. So yeah, I think it's fair to say it's a pretty special bike with an absolute focus on making the fastest track bike possible with that engine. But if simply only one isn't enough to satisfy your urge to spend, then you'll be pleased to find out that 30 of the 200 customers will be able to attend a super special track day event in Valencia next year. It's first come, first served and costs €5,000, but accommodation, food and bike transport will all be covered. Plus, there's a couple of ex-GP riders on hand to give you tuition, and KTM and WP's mechanics to help you get your bike set up. Now, most of us can only dream of owning a £35,000 motorcycle, let alone another $5,000 for the track experience, but fear not, because the awesome 1290 Super Duke R Evo is an absolute steal at about half the price. Still, you get incredible performance and some extra cool tech features, and so if you fancy a bit of that, you can watch my full review by clicking right here.